Today I want to show you what to do with your right hand when you're playing out of a hymnal or similarly comprised sheet music. So generally the top notes are the soprano notes, which is also usually the lead or the melody, the way the song goes. And so we're sticking with Amazing Grace because we're going to know this song. And so we start with just your basic. If that's just the top notes, I mean, that's not real exciting, but a beginner might do that to play the song. So it's definitely okay to do. And maybe for emphasis, you might pull back and do something kind of simple like that. But another way to do it is to play the alto and the soprano at the same time. If you find yourself bumping into your left hand when you do that, of course you can raise it an octave. Now, another thing to do, which the more notes that you add, the fuller the sound. So another good thing to practice is looking at the the top note soprano, the note right under that is alto, and the top note in the bass is the tenor. And so this is a wonderful exercise to do, is to play, let primarily your pinky play the soprano, and then let your lower fingers play the alto and the tenor. Now you're going to move the tenor up off an octave in order to make closer chords. So our first, not always. The first example I don't. What I want to do is I want to keep the soprano on the top of the sound. So I want the soprano to be primarily with my pinky, and those other two notes fall below with the lower fingers. So the first note, Amazing Grace, makes a G chord right there, because the soprano is D, the alto is B, and the tenor is G, and that just fits really nicely right there. The second note in Amazing Grace, the top note is a G, the alto is a B, but the tenor is a D, and that tenor will fit right there in the middle, very conveniently. So you would go like that. So you just made two chords. And let's do the next one. To finish out the word amazing, the top note's a B, and this alto is a D, the tenor is a G. So here we go again, look at that. What you've just done is inverted the G chord. You've done inversions, chord inversions. And we may talk more about that in another video, but that's what's happening here. And then here, where you have the eighth note, I would just play the eighth note instead of you can go down and do the other chord again, but you don't have to. You could do, and then Grace is that same note. And then when we get to How, we have an A on the top, a C on the bottom, and a C is the alto. And let's see what the tenor is at Grace is a G. I'm looking at the wrong thing, sorry. Grace, the top note is, the soprano is we're looking at How. I'm sorry, look at How, okay. So How is the top, the pinky's on A, the thumb is on C, and then the tenor down there has an F sharp, and look at that, that fits right there where that third finger is. And let's let's move to sweet. So the pinky's on G, the alto or the thumb is on B, and the tenor is also a G. But look at the bass. The bass right there is giving you a different note. The bass is giving you an E. So let's take it. Instead of just having an open sound, let's put that E in the middle. That creates our E minor that we talked about earlier. Okay. And look at the, you have E, C, put the G down there on the bottom from the tenor. And then sound, D, B, G. That. We've already done those. Let's look at like. So at like, the pinky goes A, the thumb goes D, and we have an F sharp in the middle. Then we have an octave at me. We have D, D, look at that. And there's a G in the middle, or in the tenor. But look what the bass gives us. The bass gives us a B. So we could just put all those in there. So that's 4 notes we're using. Okay. And the rest of the song would follow suit. So I want you to practice doing that, and then going all the way through the song. But now here's another thing we can do. Notice, remember at the end how we had all 4 of those notes? Well, what was happening was the D was doubling. There were 2 Ds. So the soprano and the alto were both doing Ds. But the bass and tenor offered us different notes to play, and so we just stuck them in. And that gave a really nice big sound. So let's go back now at the beginning of Amazing Grace, and let's try to do more fingers. So how do you do that? Well, we analyze the chords, and we see what all possible chord or notes can we put in to make these chords bigger. And sometimes we are. What we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be doubling the melody. So at Amazing Grace, instead of playing the pinky on that D and then like we were doing it, like that chord there, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an octave at right there. And now we're going to look inside that octave, those 2 Ds, and we're going to see what notes are indicated in the song that might fall in between here to give these other fingers something to do. And so we have Ds, so we know we have Bs and Gs. Well, look there, 4 can hit a B there, and there's a G right there. So that's a nice full chord. I've got my 3rd finger just hanging. So there's that. Let's do the next one. So we put octaves on G. And let's look inside the chord. We have a B and a D. Now let's do zing. And so we have Bs. It offers us a D and a G. Now this is a quick move because you have that slur. So I would suggest just doing a G octave there. So let's see what it sounds like if we just put it all together like that. Added one, but it's one we've already learned. Okay. Now how, let's look at how. That's double A's. And what's inside is a C, a D, and an F sharp. Whoa, okay. Well, what you could do is just do the D and the F sharp. Or you could move your thumb up to catch the C. If you like that sound better, like do away with the octave thing and just play all 4 of the notes, that works too. Doesn't matter. So you could do this or this. Doesn't matter. And let's look at sweet. We have G octaves, we have a B in the alto, and E in the bass. And in the, we have E's with a C and a G. And then sound, we have D's with a B and a G, like that. Like, let's look at like. That's A with a D and an F sharp. They also have that C in the bottom because it's a seventh. And you could do that the same way. Either do it with the G, the D, the F sharp, and the the A, the D, the F sharp, and A. Or you could add that C underneath, which is a nice sound. And that takes us back to me. Okay. So instantly, once you start adding those octaves, let's see. I was making sure I did sweet right. I'm not sure I did. Let me do it again. There it is. But that gives you a bigger sound instantly. And it takes a little work. It may take a lot of work to do that. And your hand might get tired. So if you're not used to making octaves, I would suggest doing just the second way I showed you, doing the chords, the 3-note chords, using the tenor, the alto, and the soprano. But while you are exercising your hands and getting them ready for octaves, if your hands are big enough. So I just tell my students to do running octaves. So. Do that with either hand and just kind of mess around. But you don't want your hands hurting. So do what's comfortable. But I would definitely be shooting for that full octave sound if you really want your piano playing to pop. So anyway, that was today's. If you have any questions, I hope you'll get a hold of me and let me know.